Good morning, students. Good morning, sir. I hope you guys had a good night's rest. Now, as we planned the last time that we will be going into plain figure. And I already give each person a student notes that have everything that we will be doing today on plain figure. Everyone have a student notes in front of them? Yes, sir. So it is on the board. It is on the board there. Plain figure. Now in this lesson, there are 3 objectives. By the end of this lesson, I expect all you trainees or students should be able to define plain figure and distinguish them from solid figures. You guys must be able to sketch basic plain figures such as triangle, square, rectangle, circle, and some polygons. And lastly, you must be able to identify and describe the different types of plain figure. Right? And those are the objectives for today's lesson. So let us go right into it. Number 1, define plain figure. So all you students know, who will like to define what is a plain figure? Somebody read it out loud and clear to me. What is a plane? I don't call name if anybody refuses to volunteer.
A plane figure is a flat two-dimensional shape that lies entirely on a plane.
Yeah.
Plane figures have length and width but no thickness.
Yeah, thanks very much. So notice this, a plane figure is a two-dimensional shape that lies entirely on a plane. It have length, width, but no thickness. So there is no thickness, it's just flat. Now what are some characteristics of plane figures? There are 4 there. Who will like to list 2 of them? What are 2 of the characteristics of a plane figure?
They're two-dimensional, they lie on a flat surface.
Yeah, that's good, that's true. And to know that closed plane figure have area and perimeter, and they have straight and curved sides. And please take note of these characteristics of a plane figure. Two-dimensional, they lie on flat surfaces, and they have area and perimeter, the closed plane figures. And 2, there are some that are straight and some that have curved sides. There are some common plane figures there listed in the student's note there. They are how much they're listed? They have 8, so 10 they're listed. But we will be only looking at 5 or 6 of them. Now let us call all of them. Triangle, square, rectangle, circle, parallelogram, trapezium, rhombus, pentagon, hexagon, octagon. Yeah. So those are some plane figures there. But we will be only, as I said, we will be only looking at about 5 or 6 of them. Triangle is one of the chief ones as engineers, young engineers, or in the engineering fields. We must understand triangle. It will come up when it's time for us to do trigonometry and geometry and how it relates to engineering components and so on. We will look at square, 2, rectangle, and circle, and parallelogram. Now, I want to take this time now and let us do some sketch of some plane figures. We went through some plane figures. Now we want to do sketches of some plane figures. We want to start with a triangle. So at this point, I will ask you to take out your book I will give you guys 1 minute to head up inside of your book. The date, the name, the date. We're doing calculation, and then the topic is plain figure. Plain figure. And then we go right into doing some sketch on plain figure. Let's see if I got my here. What's up? Heading up? All right, if you check the student notes, we follow strictly one step here. We now will follow our step and do common sketches of solid, of plain figure solid. So we look at triangle. So we now will do sketch of a triangle. So what is the first step here? Draw a baseline. So on you, I expect seeing you draw a baseline of reasonable length. So you draw a baseline. And then what's the second step?
Place a point above or below.
So base, place a point above. Anyway, at the top maybe, if you guys could look at me. And then what?
Connect
And
the
then
point.
connect
The point.
the point there to the end. So going back to what is a plane figure, let's say a plane figure has what? A length and a flat, a two-dimensional shape, and then they could have area. But let us look at how that triangle look like. You notice that it is flat, it has two-dimensional shape, and you could think about the two lines. So how many sides a triangle has? It has 3 sides. Right? A triangle has 3 sides. So below the triangle there, then you draw, you put that note that a triangle has 3 sides. We're moving on now to a square. To a square. To a square. I'll give you a few seconds to get that in. We now look at a square. So what's one? One is say here. Draw one side. Draw one side. Which side you will prefer drawing? Draw one side. For me, I will draw this side. Draw one side. And then what's the next step? Draw equal length perpendicular sides on both ends. Meaning what? Go again. The opposite side. Will you mean draw it like this? Oh yeah. So you draw the bottom if you want, then you draw the top, make sure that they are straight, and then you connect the two projecting sides, connect the ends of the two sides. And now we have a different shape looking plane figure than triangle. And how many sides now the square have? 4. So this has 4 sides. So You could write that at the bottom. Now we have a rectangle. Now what is the deal about the rectangle? The rectangle is the same as the square, but opposite sides are equal. Meaning what? What is it we talking about? What are we talking about? So with the square then, all four sides are equal, but with the rectangle, just opposite sides are equal. Therefore, the same way how we draw then these two opposite sides must be the same. Yeah, just keep on pressing it up. These two sides must be the same. So that is how the rectangle will show, right? So we could put the notes on the rectangle. What would be the notes on the rectangle? A rectangle has four sides, but the opposite side. But no, the opposite sides are the same or are equal. Lastly, we look at the circle. We look at circle. And how do we draw the circle? It said there, choose a center point. And at this point, you should have your compass. But then, since we do not have the compass, do you guys know about this? Take your pencil. And what's the here? Draw a curve and stay the same distance from the center. So get your pencil and then stay the same distance from the center and you draw the circle. Freehand, everything is freehand. You guys think you can get that done? Yes, try it. So what can be said about the circle? It has no sides or edges. What else we could say about the circle? It's round. So therefore, a circle has what? What are some parts of a circle? We have the circumference. We have the radius. And two, we have diameter. So there are a lot of parts. We will go into that as we go deeper down into plane figures. So they said the sketch, some sketch tips that you guys have just do. You see some sketch tip. It said you use light strokes first, not deep. Light strokes, which we should have gone through that. Then keep the lines as straight as possible. Then use label for clarity, and then sketch lightly before darkening. So take for example, we draw this triangle. You could label the points here, A, B, C. We could even go anti-clockwise, or we could even go clockwise. That is B, C. We could even do this for A, B, C, D. And for this, we do the same A, B, C, D. There's even times where you could even give it dimension, the square dimension. And this could be 10 mm. And here could be. So if here is 10 mm, how much will be this side on a square? 10 mm. Because remember we said that all the sides are the same. Now if you go to the rectangle, this is 20 mm. And here is let me say this is 8 mm. The same will be for those that are opposite, right? In triangles, we will go into types of triangles, which you'll find in some triangles, two sides are equal, while all sides are equal. And those triangles are some name. So in our next lesson, we will go into that. Now, let us look at what we have just drawn, some of the solid figure that we have just drawn. Let me go to the back of the page, and there is a picture showing how solid figures look like. We do the square, we do the circle, we do the triangle, and we do the rectangle. Then they have pentagon and they have hexagon. And all of them have different in the amount of size. Now let us go back and let us look at finally the types of plane figures and the number of sides. The number of sides they have. The number of sides that the plane figures have. We have the triangle. Triangle, as we have discussed, have 3 sides. The quadrilaterals, they have 4 sides, and they could come in forms of square, rectangles. Then we have the pentagon, 5 sides. Then we have the hexagon, and so on. But as we said, we only will be looking at mostly 4 or 5 of them. So if we are to briefly recap what we have just discussed, what we just discussed, we talk about the first thing in our objective, we were able to define plane figure, be able to distinguish them, and then be able to do sketches on plane figure. We were able to look at 4 of them and to be able to identify and describe these plane figures. Any questions? So with this being said, I want to give you guys a simple exercise, a simple assessment, or let me say a little quiz based on what we have just discussed. Just a simple quiz. Another test, a small quiz. So put your name, they show there your name. Put your name, the date. And we will be working it together. want to say something like that. So let us work the worksheet together. Let us look at the worksheet. Let us see how much you have retained based on our lesson on plain figure. The first thing here, define a plain figure. Define a plain figure. You could write it in your own words. Define plain figure. So I give you 1 minute to just define in your own words. Just write it in your own words. So you want to remember what is a plain figure. I noticed some of you have already gone ahead, and no problem, you could go ahead. It showed me how much you guys have retained. What is it? But I see another thing. Please put away your worksheet. Please put away your notes, your student notes. Please put away the student notes. Your student notes. I wanted to see how much you have retained. So define the plain figure. Number 2, that's easy. List 3 examples of a plain figure. List 3 examples of a plain figure. I see some of you are smiling and saying, this is really easy. But there's just one everybody to fully understand the lesson for today. So let's now 3 examples of a plain figure. The next thing I ask, what is a polygon? What is your understanding of a polygon? Then you will use the plain sheet that I have given you, and you will make sketches of the 5 plain figure listed there. You see 5 plain figure listed there. The triangle, the square, the rectangle, the circle, and the pentagon. Then you go to section C when you finish. Then you go to the back and you complete that table there. Then you go to the back. So I give you guys 10 minutes to get that done. Class, I see that you guys have finished. So let us look at the answer. Notice there, you will scroll up here. Notice there, section A. What's the question asked? What is a plane figure? And you notice what said there is a flat. What I have here a 2D shape with length and width only. That's in your own words. With length and width only. You know triangle has how many? Three plane figures are. See triangle, square, circle, mango, right, rectangle. She write triangle, square, rectangle. If you want, you could put any of those listed. Then you move on to what is a polygon? What is a polygon? Sorry to go up a little. What is a polygon? What is it you have here, Goville? Will you write for polygon?
A polygon is a plane figure with straight sides.
This is short, right? It's three. Where there's a polygon is a closed figure with straight lines. A closed figure with straight lines. Bingo didn't remember that one. Now we move on to, you guys have to draw. I see Bingo do some drawing here, and then she put it on a paper, that's good. And then we move on to name two quadrilaterals. What are two quadrilaterals you saw? What you put down for that? Oh, okay, no problem. Let me go, let me see what's two. We have a square rectangle. Yes, once it have four sides, right? Two. What's the number two? How many sides a hexagon has? Six. They go has 7 sides. Right? It has 6 sides. And then we have, is a circle a polygon? No, so I say no. Why? Explain.
Because it has no straight sides.
Because it has no straight sides. And it's just this here, right? And I notice that the rest of it, you guys are supposed to have it all. So great job. Great job. So it is an easy exercise, but it is something that you guys have to do within the engineering field. As we go on, even people into plane figure, we will be able to see more about plane figures. How can we use plane figures to solve problems? We will be going into that as we move on. We will be how you find area and perimeter of plane figures in our as we go deeper down into plane figures as the weeks goes by. Right? So thank you, students, for a good exercise. So you guys now to take a quick 15 minutes break, and we'll be back as we continue and move on to our next lesson. So thank you.